glorious. I will review crappy PC pods. I will review. Good evening, folks, and welcome to my glorious PC review of WWE 2K18. Yes, it is that time of year again, and it only just dawned to me that I did not actually review 2K17. So here you go. It was pretty average. 6 out of 10. There we go. That's your 2K17 review done and dusted. So all of you people bitching at me on Twitter, it's done now. Forget about it. So let's start with the juicy stuff, the things that you want on your PC. We're going to take a look at the benchmark settings for my PC. I'll run through my specs in a minute so you know what to compare it to on your own system. And then we'll take a look at the exhaustive graphics settings. I say exhaustive. The only thing exhaustive about this, well, it's more exhausting, is the fucking career mode. Anyway, let's crack on with the benchmark. So, just to go through my specs so that you know what to compare it to, I'm running a i7 2600K, which, you know, is a pretty decent processor, 3.4 GHz, so it's not the most amazing i7 that you can get, but it's alright. I'm running a GTX 1060 6GB, so it's again, reasonably decent graphics card. I've got 16 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. I haven't made the leap to DDR4 yet. As you can see, running the benchmark on the game itself, I do like it when games have benchmarks. It saves me having to do my own research. But the frames per second is actually pretty decent. It's staying around the 55 to 60 mark. And if we skip forward to the end results, so as you can see, we've got a performance rank of A, we've got an average of 59 frames per second, we've got a minimum of 55 and a maximum of 61. So as you can see, this runs pretty damn well, and that was with 6 people in a Hell in a Cell match, so you ain't going to get much more intensive than that in this game. Little tips if it isn't running particularly great on your computer, in the previous versions, turning down the crowd level actually works a dream for sorting out your frames a second. One little tip for that as well, something that they've added in this one, I'm sure before you could just have like low, medium and high settings, but we'll just go into the settings in a minute and you'll see that you can actually change the crowd numbers by a percentage, which is crazy, but they let you do it. Let's take a look. Okay, so you've got your screen resolution settings. You can actually go higher on GTX cards than your native resolution, which is mine is 1080. You can go higher than that as a kind of super scaling, super sampling, something like that it's called. I don't know, can't remember to be honest with you. Window mode, yes or no? We'll go for no. VSync obviously off. Shadows. You've got the choice of on or off, FXAA on and off, text to quality low, medium and high, audience density, this is the thing, they let you do it by percent, which is pretty crazy, depth of field and obviously motion blur turned off. And that is about it, guys. There's not much in the terms of advanced settings here at all, but you've got all your normal game modes, Hell in a Cell, tag teams, extreme rules, all of that. So let's start up a Hell in a Cell and see how we get on. Okay, so the intros, as always, seem to be pretty well polished. They seem to be getting the character movements and everything, the likenesses of the characters very well. Long hair still very iffy, but that's been a running thing in WWE games since forever. Now, one thing you might have just noticed about Seth Rollins, he is the poster guy for WWE 2K18, so you'd expect them to have got every detail about him as close to real as possible, and they completely messed up his entrance music. They have his original entrance music, there's no fucking burn it down. What's going on there? I mean, this is the guy who's promoting your product, for Christ's sake, and they can't even get that right. Crazy if you ask me. So anyway, let's get into the actual gameplay and have a bit of a talk about that. So the first thing you'll probably notice is that there doesn't seem to be a near side cage on the Hell in a Cell itself. I know it does obstruct the view slightly, but I mean, it's meant to be Hell in a Cell, and there's no cell there. You've only got the 3 walls around the other side. As you can hear, there is still a cage there as such, but yeah, it doesn't appear at all, which is weird if you ask me. Gameplay itself, it runs very similar to last year's edition, 2K17 and 2K16, to be honest. All the buttons and everything are generally the same. It runs okay. VSync is a bit of an issue. I always like to have it turned off. Basically in this, I'm just trying to get outside of the cell. I'm not quite sure how you do it. I think you have to get a OMG moment, which is a bit tricky. I haven't quite worked that one out yet. The commentary is bland as hell, to be honest. You've got Byron Saxton, you've got Corey Graves, you've got Michael Cole, and they're all bland as hell. I mean, the commentary is always a bit sketchy, but in my opinion, they should have never have... Well, Morello left on his own accord, but they should have kept him. He was going to be the next Jim Ross as far as I was concerned, and this is where I completely forget what I'm doing with submissions, and I lose. Well done, Seth Rollins. Lost to Kurt Angle within a couple of minutes in a Hell in a Cell. Well done, my son. Right, let's take a look at the mode that everyone hopes that they'll sort out and put something decent in, and that's to create a superstar. What can I say? I don't know if you unlock things as you progress through the game, like attire and stuff. I'm guessing you do. Obviously movesets and stuff you normally do, you unlock them with coins and whatever that you get in the game, the money that you earn. I did see something about loot boxes as well. If they're fucking putting stuff in that, that's awful. But I mean, normal options, very basic options. You can choose your name, your nickname. So they have actually got Blade on here, which is fantastic. I believe they put that in maybe last year, the year before, 2K16 I think it was on. Where are we? Good old Blade. But as far as the customization options, when you start on my player, is poor to say the least. I mean, I couldn't even find out how to change your hair colour, for Christ's sake. I don't know whether I was doing something wrong or not, but your movesets are extremely limited. Your clothes sets, it like has a load of presets that you can choose from. I'm assuming that you can unlock these in the game, but I got that bored playing the career mode that I stopped after a very short period of time, to be honest with you. And like I say, I saw that there were loot crates that you could get as well, which I'm assuming you can buy with real money, and it's going to have movesets and costumes and entrances and stuff in, which is ridiculous to say the least. But there you go. These are the hairstyles that you could choose, so I picked this hairstyle. No option to change the colour. Again, I don't know whether that becomes something you can unlock, your hair colour, for Christ's sake. I even went back, I've created the entire dude, and I went back to the appearance to make sure that I hadn't missed something with the hair colour, and there wasn't the option there. If I've missed it, hands up, but it was not there, I guarantee you. Let's skip forward and just take a look at some of the really cringeworthy stuff in the beginning moments of your career. I won't ruin anything, but yeah. So it starts out like normal. You start off in NXT Training. You have to go and speak to Matt Bloom, or as most people will know him as Prince Albert. There is no voice acting, which is fucking ridiculous. I mean, you've got this guy there, he's there all the time just getting to voice act the stuff, and your character just keeps talking. I mean, he could have said that sentence 4 or 5 times over, and he's still doing this ridiculous movements, and his eyes, they're just crazy. I don't get it. It's awful. This is lazy stuff from 2K. It really is. I mean, you could just sit here all day and this guy would keep moving his head and talking, even though he's said those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 words. a million times by now, and it's all the same stuff. You do your little routines in NXT. It's boring as hell, and it's just a grind. If you've played the other ones the past couple of years, it's exactly the same. It is terrible. Honestly, I would not even bother. If I were you, that's what I would say to you. I would say, don't even bother with this game mode. It is not worth your time. So what are my final thoughts for WWE 2K18? I mean, it's got a really good roster. It's very deep. I can't really show you it because they didn't put it in like a display where they've got all the characters on the screen. You just kind of scroll between them like they did in previous versions. It's kind of just like one big list, and when you've got all these wrestlers on, it's a pain in the backside going through them all, trying to find the one that you want. It really is. They've got some good DLC characters as well that you can unlock. They've got some really good like old versions of wrestlers as well. You know, it's all there. It's probably the most complete roster that you could ever want. There's a load of dudes from NXT. It's fantastic, but I mean, the game doesn't play bad. If I were you, I'd stick to playing single player. As you can see, collision detection is pretty awful as well. It's like you can't even throw them into the railings on the side of the ramp there when I rushed out against Goldberg, what am I on about? Goldust. And when he threw me, I got to the ramp and I just fell over. Because that's what happens. If you throw someone, if you Irish whip them and they don't run into anything, they just kind of fall on the floor like absolute goombas. It's ridiculous. But I mean, it runs okay. There's plenty of options, gameplay options to keep you entertained, but like the longevity of it, like your career mode and that you look for in these sort of games, it's just a boring grind, and I'm not going to be playing it. I will be playing games like this, just having the odd game. I played a Raw Rumble, that was really good fun. One thing I will say about Rumbles is that size really does seem to make a difference. I got eliminated and I came in again as the Big Show, and it seemed to. This is me trying to get in the ring. Yeah, it doesn't seem to want to let you do that very easily either. I came in as a Big Show, and it seemed really difficult for people to get me out. So, you know, they seem to have nailed that sort of realism behind it, but the game itself, it's just the same old thing. It's just been a bit spruced up. It's had a few new people added to it, and that is literally about it, folks, compared to the last 2 or 3 years games. Nothing much has changed. It does run a bit better, but than 2K15, because it was a bit janky 2K15, but then I've upgraded my computer since then, so I don't know whether that's what's caused it, and there's no real difference in the actual performance in the game. I mean, you guys, please leave me some comments. Let me know how, if you've got the game, let me know how it performs on your computer, because I'd be really interested to learn just how bad this can perform on slightly lower spec rigs, definitely. So here we go, we're joining back with Bobby Roode. He's going for the glorious DDT. And there it is. You can do your automatic pins by holding down B while you're doing moves, which is a good thing. Should have been in there a long time ago. I believe it was in last year anyway as well. Bobby Roode's the winner. What can I say? 2K18. It's just the same old stuff. 2K really need to start putting a bit more effort in, to be honest with you. So that is why I have to give this game another 6 out of 10. Again, probably the best option on PC out of the 2K game, 2K15, 16, 17 and 18. Since they started releasing them back on PC again, this is probably your best one. But it ain't that great. It ain't that great. But it's alright. We're just going to keep watching till the end of this, because you can break out at the end of matches again, and you can destroy some people. So I get myself a table here, and I do put Goldust through it once I work out how to get back in the ring, for Christ's sake. I mean, they need to make this easier. There we go. Eventually we get back in. We set the table up alright, to be fair. It was just getting it back in. I did try and put that in the corner. Didn't work. Again, detection maybe causing issues. But here we go.
Oh my God.
Good night, Goldust. Hello, Bobby Roode. Straight through the table. And the crowd pop in there. Sarcasm, they're not doing anything. They were kind of booing me through that, even though there's tons of Bobby Roode signs. Anyway, 2K18, 6 out of 10. Tell your friends, leave me a like and a comment, subscribe to the channel. Take care, folks, and good night.